Hey, this is Scott Perdue, and this is FlyWire's update on day 3 and day 4 of Sun-nFun 23. It's actually Saturday as I'm filming this because I did all that other stuff that you're going to see in a second on Thursday and Friday. Thursday, day 3, I had a mid-morning talk at an ABS forum, so I had an early show to make sure I can get the audio-visual taken care of, and there was a bit of a problem, but I got it done. It was a good turnout. I'm happy to see that. Then I had lunch with a friend, and then I watched the show and it got toasted, so I left. Not a whole lot of film for day 3. Day 4, I decided what I really needed to do instead of walking the buildings was I needed to walk the outside vendor line, and so that's what I did. And I found a couple of cool things. One was Acme Aero has these shocks that they built for the Skywagon, or the Cessna tail dragger line. That's 170 to 180, 185. Attaches to the spring gear. It's built for a rebound. It's really awesome. Little blurb on that. It's all North Sea, so you don't need an STC. And what else did I do? I bought one of those Aero CO sensors, the portable USB one, and I'm going to do a report on that and see how that works. I got it portable so I can fit it in the Husky and the Bonanza instead of having a permanent mount, but that's also North Sea. It's set up for North Sea as well, so that's pretty cool. What else did I do? Oh, I dropped by Flying Eyes. A friend of mine drug me over there. I never really paid a whole lot of attention to sunglasses. Air Force issued me sunglasses, and basically I use the same kind of sunglasses all the time. But I need glasses now, so went by Flying Eyes. And one of the things that's always bothered me is these earpieces are, you can't wear headset with these things because it pinches them on the side of your head. And wearing glasses, I've only had them for 2 weeks, and it's driving me nuts. But this nose piece thing is really, it's got dents in my nose. So met Dean at Flying Eyes, and he showed me the really thin earpieces, and I like their nose pieces, so I got a set of glasses coming. So expect a report on that. Hoping they'll work out because these are driving me nuts. I also saw the Junkers 100. It's looks like a Ryan sort of tail dragger. I think it's an LSA aimed at kind of the training market or whatever. We'll take a quick look at that. And what you really want to hang around for is I caught up with Brad at Cub Crafters, and we talked Carbon Cub UL. This sounds like a real exciting little airplane, so stand by for that. And just now I ran into John Zapp in the parking lot here at the lovely La Quinta in Lakeland, and caught up with him. Hadn't seen him in about 15 years or so, and we talked about his Flying Musicians Association and their scholarship for kids. So this is a good one. One of the coolest things I found today was this Acme Aero shock system for the Skywagon, the 170, 180, 185. Really, really cool. And it's under the North Sea, which is non-required safety-enhancing equipment, so you don't need an STC. And it's got quick-release pins, so you can pull them off while you're going cross-country, so they're not a drag monster, because they're a bit of a drag monster. Really cool and totally tuned to prevent the rebound, which is the issue in the spring gear. This is the from the Waco people, the Junkers 100. It looks like an LSA with a Rotax 100 horsepower engine in it. It's not very fast, 75 cruise, but it looks like kind of the Ryan STA or that World War II era of trainer, but with the Junkers corrugated aluminum, which gives it strength.
And I met up with a fellow that I knew a long time ago. His name's John Zapp, and he runs Flying Musicians, and it's a really cool program connecting flying and music and everything, but also he's really oriented towards kids. He's going to tell me about his program.
Yeah, Scott, it's nice to see you again. It's been many years since the B-25 days. Yeah, we have a program that we go out to music programs across the country, and we recruit the music students who want to learn to fly. And we call it the FMA Solo Program. It's now in the 8th year. We've already given out 14 scholarships. And basically what we do, we're looking for junior and senior high school music students, and we have their music director nominate them and vouch for their character and And then we help them from zero to solo. So we get them through the fence. We basically start them out, show them the ropes, who to contact, give them a network to use to continue their, hopefully their career in aviation. And these kids are the passionate ones. They're not just somebody wants to go up for a flight. Oh, I think it's cool. These are kids that will be going off and have gone off to college for engineering, ROTC. You know, the very first scholarship winner, Drew Medina, out of Vero Beach, Florida. He is now in flight training at the Air Force Academy. Thank you. And we feel that just throwing money at things isn't the way to do it. We get them in there, make sure they're serious, give them that network to feed on. They're the Ray Foundation. I mean, they have the money. We show them where the money is, you know, through EAA, AOPA, etc. Get them hooked up with them, and that's why it's so important that sponsors step up and help us, so that we can then, you know, introduce these youngsters to their products. We get swag from all kinds of companies, Avemco, you know, Cirrus, you name it, and we give packages to all the kids. This year we had just an incredible jump in nominations. Usually it's around 30. It's a niche thing, but this year we had 86 nominations.
Wow.
86. Now I got to tell you, my heart is breaking right now. It is tough because I want to give a bunch of scholarships, but I cannot afford it. FMA is a neat organization, over 1,000 members now around the world, but we don't have that big money yet to be able to give to the kids. Not just basically give it to them, but help them get into that. And so 86, I onboard every nominee as a new member. So we onboard them, we send them a welcome package with a shirt, a hat, and branded items from our sponsors, and then we give them a checklist. And the checklist they have to follow to get it. And I've asked teachers, I said, do students ever come to you and say, yeah, I finished that? And they say, yeah, all the time. So even the best of the best are out there saying, yep, I finished the checklist. It's like, well, what about item number 1? So I have little catches in the checklist that I know if they haven't done it, you know. And it's really interesting because for the most part they do, but it's getting them used to a checklist, which is so important, as you well know, in aviation. And so it's another thing that we do for them, and they're just good. We love it. It's great.
Hey, I'm here, was wandering around the grounds here at Sun-nFun, and I finally caught up with Brad at the Cub Crafters display here, and they have the new Carbon Cub with the Rotax 916 UL.
916 IS.
IS.
Is the engine, and the airplane's called a Carbon Cub UL, is what we're branding this variant of the airplane.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about? I know this is the prototype. It's first time it's gone away from the factory. So tell me a little bit about the airplane.
Yeah. So if you look back at the history of the Carbon Cub, it was first introduced in 2009, and each iteration of it has gotten heavier. And we've gotten more performance for that weight. So we've gotten bigger engines and higher speeds and more gross weight and more useful load out of the airplane, but it's continually gotten heavier. This airplane's all about going the other direction, taking that original first generation Carbon Cub, making it lighter and getting that lightweight performance back into the airplane, which also gets us into the ultralight category in many international jurisdictions outside the United States. And this engine here from Rotax gives us best of class performance, plus gives us the ability to run auto gas in places where avgas simply isn't available.
That sounds really cool. So what are the specs you got on this? You came here at, I heard, like 17.5. What are the performance numbers that you were able to reveal to us?
Yeah, so the performance numbers were real good all the way across the board. Low level, slow speed, loiter cruise, down near sea level. I was able to cruise along 60 miles an hour at about 2 gallons an hour, just sipping fuel. And then, I brought an oxygen bottle with me. I took it up high to see if the high performance, or the high altitude performance was as advertised from Rotax, and it actually is, or it's even better than Rotax advertises. So up at 17,500 feet, I was seeing 45 inches of manifold pressure, able to cruise all along at maximum continuous cruise power, and I was seeing cruise speeds, true airspeed, at 17.5, which is not where anybody normally flies one of these airplanes, but at the altitude north of 150 miles an hour.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. And what was the fuel burn?
Fuel burn was 9.9.
9.9. That's pretty incredible. So I'm guessing that doing the turbocharged engine allows you to save weight for getting to that 160 horsepower. So what is the weight? This is just a carbon Cub, essentially, and with a couple of mods, and then the engine's lighter.
Well, this is what we're calling an engineering prototype. This airplane's all about getting this Rotax engine flying on our airframe to learn what we need to learn to design the final version of the airplane, the consumer version of the airplane.
Okay.
So that's what this airplane's all about. It goes into an engineering cycle, and we're doing a deep dive all the way from the spinner to the tail of the airplane to take weight out and increase performance. Some of the stuff we've already done, you don't see the cowling on this airplane, but the cowling is a pre-preg composite cowling, first ever for us, and that composite is about 30% lighter than the vacuum bag composites we've previously used on this airplane. The airplane has a titanium firewall, has a composite boot cowl instead of an aluminum boot cowl. Obviously the Rotax engine is quite a bit lighter than a traditional aircraft engine. It's got titanium landing gear on the airplane. So the final consumer version of this airplane, we'll expect to see a lot more titanium parts, we'll expect to see a lot more pre-preg composites, and we expect this airplane in a consumer version to be under 400 kilograms empty weight with a max gross weight of 600 kilograms for those areas that are either LSA or UL category, or up to 700 kilograms for those areas that have an advanced ultralight category or an ELSA option for customers.
Oh, that sounds cool. But I got to ask you, can you convert that metric to standard? I can't do that easily. I can do air math.
Yeah. So 600 kilograms maximum. What's the LSA category maximum gross weight is 1320 pounds. And that is the same as the ultralight category maximum gross weight in many areas around the world. Not a Part 103 ultralight here in the United States, that's a different type of beast. But in places like Argentina, Brazil, those sorts of areas, they have the ultralight category, and it's a 600 kilograms or 1320 pound maximum gross weight. On the bottom end, 400 kilograms, it's about 860 pounds, or 890 pounds, and we expect to be below that for this airplane. So an empty weight, well under 900 pounds, allows two people, 200-pound pilot, 120-pound passenger, full fuel, 20 pounds of baggage, and you'll be under that 600 kilogram maximum gross weight. That's the design goal of the airplane, and we're confident we're going to meet it.
Oh, that sounds exciting. So how are you going to do this one? Are you going to do it as a kit, the way you do the FXs and the EXs, or are you going to? How do you plan on doing it?
We're starting out with a factory-built LSA airplane. So the Carbon Cub SS already is an LSA airplane. We've got a flying LSA airplane that meets ASTM standards already. So we're starting with that, and then we're making iterative changes to it. And this airplane will do that through all of 2023. So again, our engineering team, they're in a design cycle for the remainder of 2023. 2024, we will be doing the first half of the year. We'll have half a dozen of these airplanes out in the field, Europe, South America, the United States, elsewhere, and they'll be doing market survey work. So we'll actually get customers, we'll get existing owners, we'll get prospective customers into the airplane, fly in the airplane, and we always learn a lot about what customers would like to see, and we'll integrate that into the design, lock the design mid-2024, go into production third quarter of 2024. First consumer deliveries will be in the first quarter of 2025, and we've already taken half a dozen deposits here at the show for those early 2025 consumer deliveries.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. So exciting to actually have orders in the book for that. Have you come up with a price point initially?
No, we haven't. We got to get through the design cycle first before we price the airplane. I mean, it'll be consistent with the other airplanes we offer. It'll be in that range, but I don't know what the final price will be.
Okay. I saw that you have a 7-inch G3X in the panel. Is that really clean inside there? Is that the thin panel you're going to go with, the fairly low profile panel?
Yeah, low profile panel. The panel in this airplane's aluminum. Panel might go to a composite panel in the consumer version of the airplane, but definitely we will be installing the smallest form factor, lightest weight avionics that give the customer experience that we want in the airplane.
That sounds exciting. Looking forward to seeing it fly.
Well, I only had about maybe, I don't know, less than 5 hours behind a Rotax engine before this trip. So I didn't come into it with a lot of preconceived notions. But after a week of getting to know this airplane, getting to know this engine, I'm now a huge fan. I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be a huge winner for Cub crafters. I think the engine's going to be a huge winner for Rotax. We're really excited.
Well, that's cool. Well, I actually have some time on a Rotax, not an awful lot. I find it really strange to start it like a car.
Yeah, the key switch in this airplane has it actually I think has 7 or maybe 8 positions, and training on the key switch takes more than more training than operating the rest of the engine itself. It's full FADEC controlled, so you've got single lever control. You don't have to mess with mixture. You don't have to mess with a prop pitch control. The computer figures all that out, and it does a better job than I can, even as an experienced pilot. It's 20% more efficient than I am, and I've got 6,000 hours flying these types of airplanes, and I thought I was pretty good at managing the engine on our other airplanes. Rotax has it nailed on this. It does a better job than I can.
That sounds like fun. I've actually got a Husky, full disclosure.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what this flies like.
Well, we'll get you up in it once we got when we're in that 2024 first half of the airplane. We'll be doing a lot of media flights. We'll be doing a lot of consumer flights during part of that market survey. We'd love to have you come fly the airplane.
Well, I'd love to do that. Thanks a lot. Thanks for sharing it with me.
My pleasure. Thank you.
But it's also my farewell. And before I leave, I wanted to talk about Sam Gergis' beach bash in the bluegrass. This is it right here. This is the latest and greatest shirt. It's going to be for this year. I'm talking on Saturday morning, and you don't have to have a Bonanza, Baron, or Travel Air. You can show up in a Cessna or Piper, and people won't throw you out. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff to do, and one of the coolest things to do is shooting the black powder rifle with the Mountain Man from way back in the Revolutionary days. It is truly an amazing thing to do. Anyways, a lot of company, great event in Madisonville, Kentucky. So make sure to put it on your calendar. It's only like 3 or 4 weeks away. So put it on your calendar and do that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on FlyWire.